we'd like to welcome you to the Research Showcase Awards and closing. And we do have lots to celebrate today, as Brandy said. I think the very first award that we're going to move into is that of the SHA's Patient Impact Award. And I will let you take that away, Elan.
Great, thanks so much, Christine. So those of you that joined us just in time for the Learning Health System, just give you a very, very brief, because we're going to keep the closing comments short and sweet. It's going to be hard to top that Learning Health System panel. So at the risk of being underwhelmingly mild here, we're going to actually try to go quickly. But the Patient Impact Award is sponsored by the Health Authority, and it really is intended to recognize research, not research in progress, not research that might have a difference down the line, but something that actually is completed that is believed by the adjudication panel to make an immediate change in the care patients receive and or their health outcomes. So this was this year was an e-poster competition. Any of the presentations that were selected for oral presentations were not considered eligible. And again, those other caveats that it had to be research that was done. So it was distilled down to 4 excellent presentations that Diana Ermel, Dr. Brenda Schuster, and Dr. Hazel Williams-Roberts adjudicated today from 1 till 2. And Beth Vachon was the most excellent moderator. And I got to listen in like a fly on the wall and hear their deliberations. And after a fairly healthy discussion, drum roll, on to the next slide, please. The winner of this year's SHA Patient Impact Award goes to Dr. Christine Lett, who's an obstetrician gynecologist in Regina, also a professor at the University of Saskatchewan College of Medicine. And she did, which is, I think, a really nice celebration, a wonderful project that actually blended quality improvement and research into one, I won't throw the term out there, learning health system, but it really was, because this has been a project in progress for a long time. So Dr. Lett is actually performing surgery today, so she was unable to join us. She had her competition on Friday, but on behalf of everybody within the SHA and SCPOR and all of our attendees, we wish to congratulate her, and I'll be certain to share all the wonderful comments that we received in the chat room. I will do.
Next slide, I believe, is we would like to now present the SCPOR Trainee Awards. We're really fortunate at SCPOR because we've had really amazing trainees. We've had trainees from a lot of disciplines, and they were very eager to show their research off. And so we had good trainee, representation at our poster gallery. And I encourage all of you to go back and visit it if you do have an opportunity, because the posters are still there, and there's still a really an interesting group to view. The posters that we had adjudicated were adjudicated by a team consisting of 2 researchers, a patient partner, and a clinician. And they used the Porlet, which is a SCPOR tool devised to evaluate patient engagement in a research project. And that was used in conjunction with another rubric for evaluating research posters. And they were all evaluated out of 50. I'd like to share that the first place winner is Thomas Cho with his poster on bereavement experiences of long-term care families before and during the COVID-19 pandemic. Thomas couldn't be here, but we thank him for his contributions, and we send you hearty congratulations, Thomas. We did have a tie for second place. We had Miriam Madani and her poster on engaging patients in conversations around unnecessary LBP imaging, choosing wisely Saskatchewan. And also Safat Sultana and her poster on catalyzing patient-oriented research among forensic psychiatric patients, both with identical scores. And so we want to congratulate you both on your second place finish. Congratulations, Miriam and Safat. Our third place winner is Navdeep Hansra with a poster on AE-derived information on indeterminate lung nodules. How do patients want information presented to engage in shared decision-making? And once again, congratulations to Navdeep. And please, I'm encouraging everyone to go and take a look at these posters. They really are outstanding. So congratulations to our SCPOR trainee winners. We now, I think it's nice to bring an event like this to a certain amount of conclusion. And so there is 3 of us. We have a patient partner. We have Elan and myself, who would just sort of like to offer a few concluding remarks. But we're going to start with our patient partner, and we would like Diana to share her thoughts on the last 2 days.
Well, thank you. And first of all, just congratulations to everybody that worked so hard in planning this and doing this, and the behind your scenes people. It's been great. I was writing notes through yesterday and today about what I might say, and then I think everybody on this last panel made all my points, but I'm going to go back through it again. So I am a patient partner on the SCPOR Advisory Network, and I co-teach the SCPOR modules with Candace, another patient partner, and Sarah Fang, who's our patient engagement specialist. And we put these modules online in March when COVID hit and we couldn't do the in-person teaching anymore. And after the second go, we developed this conceptual model for people like me who like to see the whole forest and tend not to pay enough attention to the trees. So I'm going to sort of focus what I'm saying around here. So I want to start with the outside circle. So all of the research we've heard about over the last 2 days has been amazing. It's all about the why of patient-oriented research, better health for all. But not all the projects are what we call patient-oriented research. And that's fine. It's just that I think that if we really think about what patient orientation can bring to a research project, that we would have better health system policies, healthcare practices, health service delivery, patient empowerment, patient experience, and health outcomes. I'm reading the little things around the blue circle. This morning, one of the presenters said when they started talking to their patient partners that the project became different and better than anything she could imagine. And I believe that projects that truly collaborate with patients as partners will result in better outcomes. They may not be huge differences, but just better, more meaningful, more about patients. And I do have to say, Candace, thank you very much. I was going to go into a big long thing about what we mean by patients, but you covered it. So great. So back to the model and when I think about patient engagement, I think, and learning health systems, I think patient engagement is the heart of learning health systems. So if we took that learning health system cycle and put the model in the middle, I think we would have perfection if we just kept that lens all the time. This is what we want to have. So I want to make that point, that POR should be the heart of learning health system. The other idea is that some people think, oh, we've got a patient-oriented research, we've got to do all these things and it's too much, and I've already started and I have my question. And if you think you have to check all the boxes before you ever start, you'll never start. So it's more about thinking of it like a philosophy. I believe this can work. I'm going to act like I believe this can work. And it's a huge culture shift to do that in research. And it does require a lot of thinking about power imbalances. And somebody on the panel said, giving up a little bit of your power influence. So in the pink circle, when we talk about meaningfully engaged patients, you talked about patient-recorded outcome measures and experience measures, not so much patient-identified priorities, but that came through in a number of the research projects that we heard about. And about, I think it was maybe September in the Leader Post here in Regina, Mark Spooner had written an article about totally something else, not research, but he said, some degree of humility is required to have meaningful engagement with others, It's a good practice to be less certain of one's position and always be willing to engage with new information. And it just hit me. I thought, oh, that's perfect for patient-oriented research. And it's not just for the non-patient members of the team. It's for patients too. We think we know it all, but we really don't. So moving into the next part, just the green circle. What is it? Multidisciplinary research teams. And I just want to give a shout out to clinicians. And I've been in cancer advocacy for 25 years. And all of a sudden, clinicians are almost in the same level of it being ignored as patients. And how important they're the ones that are going to do the performing, operationalizing new knowledge, and so I just always think it's we don't think about that, and I think it's so important. And so going to the orange circle, when we teach about the research cycle, we go around with the problem identification all round, and the last 2 points are implementation and then monitoring and evaluation. And this is the area where I really feel we have such a long way to go in all research, not just patient-oriented. And if you look at the learning health system, those are 2/3 of the learning health system circle, the knowledge to performance and then the performance to data. And so I really think this, like you talked about what is needed for a commitment to the learning health system. And I think it's not going to be easy, and you used words like persistence and not magical or anything like that, but a real provincial commitment of all partners collaborating. I just really think we could be amazing. And I am now going to close, but Maggie King is an Indigenous patient partner, and I love her. I've come to know her through my work with SCPOR. And I emailed her at noon and I said, if you had 2 things you wanted to say about this conference, what would they be? And she emailed me right back right away. So I'm going to close with Maggie's words. So this conference and showcase has brought awareness to the wonderful work that is happening behind the scenes. I have often wondered about the research that is taking place, and this showcase has provided a window to the incredible research that is available with patient partners. It is real and woke research. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Diana. That was
long.
No, we were really grateful for your summary. Elan, over to you. I know that you have a few words that you'd like to share.
I do, and I always say I'm going to say a few words, so you could just mute me when my time is done here. But honestly, I've jotted down so many amazing notes and takeaways throughout these 2 days here. As you know, the theme for this conference is Inspire, Connect, and Celebrate. And I feel inspired. I felt like I connected, and I definitely felt like we had a chance to celebrate. Even though we couldn't be there in person, we had to use invisible hand claps and use the chat room. It was, in some regards, I'm going to actually say the number of comments, maybe it's comfort being in a little chat room, I'm not sure, but we don't often get this many comments, questions from attendees, and we certainly don't get that many questions. So I'm hoping that despite we couldn't have the old poster boards in the auditorium and people milling around, I hope that researchers felt that this was worth their time to be a part of this, and that they too felt inspired, connected, and celebrated. I'm going to just tie together just a couple. I have probably 50 takeaway messages, but I promise I'll only share a couple. I'm going to bring us back to Dr. Shahab's presentation on Monday morning, when he said, research is a marathon, not a sprint, but there is a real need for real-time data and information. And this, I think, brings us back to the learning health system, that working through quality improvement, certainly real-time data and quality improvement was not part of the research paradigm. That's certainly not how I was trained. If you would have asked at the beginning of my career, well, we're going to get the patient's perspective, like, oh, no. That's going to influence our internal validity. We can't do that. We have this a true experimental model. And now it's the norm. And just in the very short amount of time through training, this is our learning health system. How do we go from meaningful engagement? First, it was decision makers. How do we get decision makers involved on research teams? And then you would have the token policy maker. And now we've moved past that, and we have the same growing pains about working with patients in a meaningful way, not the token patient and one patient there, but certainly the meaningful engagement. And going back to Dr. Brian's question is like, we don't really know what that looks like, but these are our, and as Dr. Shaw said, this is our learning health system. We all have our own personal learning health systems on how we grow as researchers, how we grow as advocates and as a system. So that was certainly, you know, some of the takeaway for me. And, you know, when Brandy first, you know, brought up, I was not familiar with the learning health system before we became the Saskatchewan Health Authority. I may have thought it was different things, but that was definitely, when we talk about becoming provincial in scope, that's always been my concern. Like okay, I can see us building some capacity and some passion and solidarity and purpose in Regina and Saskatoon. Even that might be a struggle. How do we go provincial? But if this year's showcase is any indication of where we're going as a province, we've seen participation from researchers, clinicians, and patient voices throughout the province. So I would say that the future is bright. It will be a marathon. It won't be a sprint, but I think we're at least beginning to build some of that solidarity and purpose, which is going to allow us to pivot and look on where we need to go. So that's my closing comments. I've enjoyed it, and I do wish to always encourage people to go check out some of the amazing posters that couldn't be highlighted here. But thank you, Christine and Diana, for giving me a few minutes for a quick recap.
Thanks, Elan. My recap is very short as well. I concur with you, Elan. We really did have an opportunity to learn from each other. We had an opportunity to connect with each other, and we certainly did have an opportunity to celebrate with each other. We had a wide range of researchers from a vast array of disciplines, which speaks to the diversity of knowledge and the knowledge that the learning health system must continue to incorporate in that cycle of ensuring research makes it into practice. However, one of the most notable highlights of this showcase has undoubtedly been the engagement of patient partners so visibly within the event and within the research. Whether it was the patient partner coffee time yesterday, which delved into the issue of digital determinants of health, or the number of presenters we have seen describe their roles as co-investigators in research, conducting everything from data collection to literature reviews, it's been a significant confirmation that patient-oriented research is becoming a normalized approach to health research in the province. How rewarding it was to hear patient partners speak with such conviction that their voices are being acknowledged in the research process, from determining priorities to mobilizing the knowledge. And the ability of the learning health system to recognize the value of the patient partner voice and its emphasis on building collaboratively to determine and create coherent sightlines speaks to a compelling healthcare culture that Candace mentioned, that focuses on healthy people and a healthy Saskatchewan. So on that note, we do have thank yous and we do have acknowledgements. And if you could just move ahead to that slide, we just want to show everyone the individuals that were involved in our steering committee. That was a wonderful group of people who really contributed to not only making this event, but what they did is a lot of these individuals were also members of advisory teams that went out and surveyed our stakeholders to see what they would like to see at a conference. And it's wonderful to say that a lot of those ideas, most of the ideas that you saw today, were all a result of stakeholder engagement. So kudos to that wonderful group of committee members who were so actively engaged in this conference planning. There's three things that I hope we can look. As well, I do also want to mention, we don't have a slide, but I'd also like to thank the panelists, the moderators, and the adjudicators. who gave so freely of their time during this busy time to facilitate and evaluate. And I would also like to thank the SHA for co-hosting this event. It was certainly a team effort. Before we leave, there's 3 things I'd like us all to look forward to. Number 1, you'll be receiving an evaluation from us, and we look forward to your feedback. We're hoping that, again, taking that feedback from our stakeholders and from our attendees to make the product even better next time. And we also look forward to seeing many of you tomorrow at our Wednesday workshops. They are really popular, and we're really glad that we could offer that as sort of a secondary part of the conference. And thirdly, we of course look forward to seeing you all next year. So thank you very much.
Bye, everyone.